Hello everyone, welcome to my vlog. First of all, as you guys probably noticed, I'm actually in Poland right now, which makes me extremely happy. I will be spending entire Christmas time with my family. There will be a lot of traveling involved. Also, I already scheduled a bunch of headshot sessions, which I'll try to get as much footage as possible and show you behind the scene. I will be working with some amazing artists here, which that's also is super exciting for me. And also I've decided this time to go to some of those interesting spots in Poland, places which really inspired me as a photographer, places which really had huge impact on my career and on my well, generally photography. Some of those places, they will be extremely shocking for you. I'm not gonna release the names of it, but the trips are already planned. Everything is actually put in place, and I just have to basically go there, and I'm gonna be creating some interesting vlogs. So stay tuned, because there's a lot of interesting things coming up. So today's vlog, I would like to dedicate it and talk a little bit about traveling. I don't know as much you guys are traveling with your gear and your equipment to some other destinations, but this is something which is, I think, worth to discuss. Over the years, I had a chance to travel quite a bit, and I've learned a lot of things as a photographer, that traveling sometimes might be challenging, especially with we traveling with our expensive gear. We have to pack everything, we have to somehow manage to have everything, I would say, under control, and make sure that the gear gets from, you know, one place to another, and we're not going to be just freaking out about, you know, some of those limitations when it comes to traveling, and especially when we're having a lot of gear. And I would like to share with you guys some of my tips, some advice, something what I've learned over the years, and hopefully that will help you a little bit to make your travels easier. I hope that's gonna make some positive impact on the, you know, the next trip for you guys, and you guys gonna have some little things here and there which gonna help you to maintain this better way. And this is based on my experiences, so I'm sure there's tons of other stuff, but I just want to discuss this stuff which, in my opinion, are the most valuable and the most important. So let's start with the first thing. First, I mean, I would say the most important thing when it comes to traveling with our photo equipment is to have a proper bag for traveling. Sometimes I know photographers completely forget about it, and they try to kind of put everything in carry-on, and that might put us in a little bit of trouble. So what I would suggest is to get the proper bag, and the company what I'm using is called Kata, and I'll actually just down the description I'll add a little bit more information about them. Those bags are, I have to say, a little more expensive. They're not cheap, but if you, let's say, travel to really far destinations, let's say, like in my case, I was traveling from Canada to Poland this time. This bag is simply miracle. This whole thing is so well designed, has enough storage, a lot of those little small compartments for some additional stuff, and you can really safely secure all your gear and put everything together inside. And even if this falls down or something happens to it, then that like your equipment is secure. Another thing, this bag, for example, has some additional compartments for the laptop, and also another kind of little compartment where I can actually just put my Wacom tablet, which it's also extremely important to have. You don't want to put that in the main bag. So what is the next step? So we have the bag, you know, everything has to be properly stored. The one thing what I suggest is just make sure you kind of like have everything stored the way you can really easy everything unpacked and put it together. And why I'm saying this, you know, a lot of those international airports, when they actually gonna do the X-ray of your bag, most of the time, not every time, not all the time, but I've been this like many times. They open the bag and they want to do this, what it's called swap. They're gonna just do some tests. They ask you to just basically remove all the equipment, and it's extremely important, especially when it comes to the time you have everything properly prepared, that you know you can pretty much everything take it out, and then you know exactly where those things go back, and then that saves you the time as well. That definitely helps you to you know, just go through this entire process fairly quick, because you know also where the things is. So if there's something missing, you already know. And this is the one thing what I've learned. Whatever is in this bag, I know exactly where the things are. I'm also the person who doesn't like mess, so I have to know what I have, where it is, where it has to kind of, where the proper place is. And that's something which I would suggest to before any travels, you have everything figured it out, and you know exactly where those things are going and where they have to be in your travel bag. Okay, so the next I would say little tricks, which I also, well, I've been a little bit in the travel back in the days, and that's also like the stuff what I'm doing right now. So whenever I travel, I pull out all the batteries, and actually I don't carry them with my bag. I put in the, you know, the luggage which I have to check in, and there's a couple of reasons. First of all, batteries are most of the time fairly heavy, especially when I travel with my speed lights, you know, 4 or 5 batteries in one speed lights, you know, and when you have 5 or 6 of them, that adds up quite a bit of weight. So that's the first reason. And second of all, I've been in the situations back in the days where I didn't turn off some of this, you know, equipment, and they're blinking or whatever, and for whatever reason, the security guys just freaked out about it. Some of those places, for example, like, you know, I've been traveling to India back in the days where, you know, they basically ask you to just pull all those batteries out, and they ask you to throw them out. And especially when you have those really expensive rechargeable batteries, that might be quite a bit of cost for anyone. If you have, let's say, I don't know, 40, 50 of those batteries, and they ask you to kind of like throw them out, that's a lot of money. And also you don't want to argue with them like, oh, you need those batteries or whatever. So one of the tricks what I'm using whenever I'm traveling, all the batteries, they're getting separated, I'll just pull them out from all this little gear I'm having, and actually just put them in the plastic bag, and I actually put them into my luggage, and they're getting checked in. So that's one of the tips which I've learned the hard way. So that's something what I would highly suggest to do for your next travel. So the next thing that I would like to talk about is, you know, like especially when we travel, I've noticed that we need to have everything somehow kind of lightweight, especially when it comes to you know, like when I shoot most of the time headshots, I need to have some stands and stuff like that. So what I'm using is I just purchased those guys. They're not very expensive, but they're very light, and they can basically go to any luggage. So that's also kind of save you a lot of weight. I know the Manfrotto company, the Italian company which makes those stands and then some, you know, some stuff like that. They make those really portable and really lightweight stands. In my opinion, you know, like you don't want to also spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars just so you can kind of have them for traveling purposes, but you can also get them fairly cheaper, and especially when I travel, I use and I actually carry with me everything what is kind of lightweight. The last thing what you want to do, especially when you travel, have some of the stuff which are extremely heavy, because I personally hate to carrying some of those stuff. And especially when I'm traveling with my family and the kids, there's tons of other crap which I have to carry around. So the photo equipment is one of those things which I want to make sure is really lightweight and doesn't take too much space. So, you know, like I'd rather to, you know, just kind of shop around and get the stuff which, you know, they portable, they lightweight, and I can actually carrying them with me wherever I go. So the next tip, it's extremely important, and this is something which a lot of photographers forget. And this is also something what I've learned hard way, and this is something which I highly recommend to do. So whenever you go for your travel, or you're going somewhere, it's extremely important. I think you should even have that, you know, kind of like just write down. Basically what I'm saying is, make sure all your equipment which you're carrying with you have this whole thing. Just write down everything what you have with you. Just make a list with all the stuff what you have. Also, what is extremely important, I think, what I do, I have also the serial numbers of all my lenses, all my bodies, everything what has serial number. I have that write down. I've lost some equipment where, you know, the bag got missing, and then basically, you know, they were asking like, okay, so how do you want to prove what you have in this bag? And serial number was one of those things which you ask for, especially for the insurance purposes. And if you don't have those stuff right down, that might get you in a little bit of trouble. Also, if you have a serial number, you can definitely start, you know, doing a little bit of, and especially when you lose equipment, you can actually just start going after and see if someone is trying to sell your stuff online. So that's something which is extremely important. I highly recommend it to do it. And I've noticed that, you know, like most of photographers these days, you know, they know what they have, but if I would like to, if someone would ask like, okay, so what serial number, you know, was your camera body, like nobody probably would know. So those are the information, valuable information, which you need to have. Just write down and then make sure you have them on you, just in case something happens. You basically, you know exactly what you've lost, and you also know how to go after. And then if the insurance asks you about some of those things, you basically prepared to give them all the informations what they need. Okay, so the last thing what I would like to share with you, and this is something also, in my opinion, it's sometimes necessary, and especially when you're going to the places where you know, like you're afraid you might lose your equipment or something might happen to it. I would highly recommend it to get insurance for your equipment, especially, let's say you're not professional photographer, or, you know, like you know, you don't really have that kind of a specific insurance. I deeply believe that it's worth it to get it. This is something which you can get at, let's say in Canada, there's a company called AMA, which actually specialize, and you can get specific insurance for your photo gear. And I think it's cool to have it. You know, if something happens, especially when you're worried and when you invest a lot of money, for example, you going to some places where they don't allow you to take the equipment with you, or having in carry-on, or like, you know, your backpack, and they ask you to check it in. That's when, you know, like, that's insurance is for. And again, I've been to these situations where you know, they literally forced me to check it in my bag. You know, someone was broken or missing, or, you know, something happened to it. Then, you know, you don't freaking out, and you have some kind of warranty that, you know, if something goes wrong, the insurance company will pay you back. And again, you know, we invest a lot of money into those things, and I know sometimes we dedicated years and years of hard work to have the equipment which we want, and you don't want one trip to some place to basically ruin everything, and then basically if you don't have insurance, then you know, like, you pretty much hooped, and then you have to just, you know, I don't know, trying to get this stuff all over again. So and it's not expensive too, right? Like, you know, that's not something which, you know, gonna cost you thousands of dollars. You can get this insurance for fairly cheap, and then you can basically yeah, just have it for your security purposes. So I hope that was interesting. Stay tuned for the next vlog, which will be coming up very soon from my photo shoot. And if you guys have any questions regarding what I just have said, feel free to shoot me an email or message, or contact me through social media. I will be extremely happy to discuss this further with you guys. I know there's tons of other stuff which we could talk about traveling with your gear, but you know, that's something which I think, in my opinion, was extremely important. Those are the things which I actually really care about. And yeah, just you know, have safe travels if you guys are going to be coming anywhere this Christmas season, and stay tuned for the next vlog. And yeah, I'm really excited to share with you guys some of those things which will be happening here. So have a fantastic week, guys, and we will be in touch very soon. Bye bye.